Vedavadinam
Nirupito balaka eva yoginam
Nirupito balaka eva yoginam
Shashrushane pravrishi nirvivikshatam
Shushushane pravishi nirvishunaksharam
Aham buratita bhave bhavam mune
Aham Gurati Bhavare Bhavam Mune
Dasyastu kasyaschana vedavadinam
Dasyastu kasyashchana Vedavadinam
Nirupito balaka eva yoginam
Nirupito balaka eva yoginam
Shashrushune pravrishi nirvivakshitam
Shushushane pravishi nirvishitam
Nirvivikshitam
Nirvivikshatam
Aham puratita bhave bhavam mune
Aham Purati Bhave Bhavam Mune
Dasyastu kasyaschana vedavadinam
Dasyastu kasyashchana Vedavadinam
Nirupito balaka eva yoginam
Nirupito balaka eva yoginam
Shashrushone pravrishi nirvivikshatam
Shushushane pravishi nirvishatam
This millennium I was born as the son of a certain maidservant, engaged in the service of Brahmanas, who were following the principles of Vedanta. When they were living together during the 4 months of the rainy season, I was engaged in their personal service.
Puratito bhave abhavam mune dasyastu kasyaschana vedavadinam nirupita balaka eva yoginam sushushane pravishi nidvivikshatam. So, this is the previous life history of Narad Muni. Narad Muni is explaining about his previous life to Vyasdev. What was the previous life? The son of a maidservant. Maidservant means Sudrani, not born of a Brahmin family, low class maidservant. So, from this position, Narad Muni became the greatest Muni. He is describing his own life. This is the most important point, that even, first of all, he was a boy, 3, 4 or 5 years old boy, no knowledge. And second point is that he was not born in a very high-grade family, aristocratic family, rich family, no. Maidservant son. He did not give any information of his father also. Dasya. Dasya means there is no certainty who is father. Dashi. Dashi putra. Formerly, big men, especially the Kshatriyas, just like when Vasudeva was married with Devaki. So, with Devaki, many hundreds maidservants are given with Vasudeva. That is the system, especially among the Kshatriyas. When a Kshatriya king is married, then along with the queen, many girlfriends of the queen, they are also taken away. This is also a nice solution of social problem. Yes. Because female population is always greater than the male. And therefore, the royal order, they would accept all these girls as associates. And sometimes they would be pregnant and there will be son. They are called Dashi Putra. They are not neglected. They are equally taken care of. But they were not heir to the throne. Only the married wife's son, just like Vidura. Vidura's birth was like that. Vidura was not born of the queen, but made son. And Dhritarashtra, he took him as his brother. There was no discrimination because one is born of the maidservant. No, equal treatment. Only the restriction was that he would not inherit the throne. That was the system. So here, of course, it appears Narad Muni was not of that kind of Dashiputra, ordinary Dashiputra. Because such Dashi or the maidservant, they do not come out for common service. They remain within the palace. So the point is that Narad Muni in his previous life was not very recognized family, neither Brahmin nor nothing of the sort. Still, he became next life the Narada Muni. And what is the cause? What the cause is Nirupita Balakeva Yoginam. I was appointed a boy servant of the devotees. The importance is that devotee is so important that if anyone renders a little service, then he becomes elevated to the spiritual life. What balaka means, there was a boy. You boy, bring me this, or do this, just wash my cloth, or just set up my bedding, like that. This much servant, or wash this dish. So, the devotional service is so powerful, but doing this will be described later. Simply by doing this little service to the yogina, you are so blessed that next life he became Narada. This point is very important point. That is being explained. Another point is that when one is situated, Narada, after this life, he became situated in spiritual life. The spiritual life, therefore, he was able to go anywhere. Narada is traveling all over the universe, not only within this material world, in the spiritual world. He goes to see Narayana in the spiritual world. This boy is sleeping. You go backside. Those who will sleep can go backside. So, this is one point. That in spiritual life, one is free to move. There is no requisition of this aeroplane or anything. Even in this material world, those who are very highly elevated, that is called, they live in the Siddha Loka. That is described in the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Siddha Loka. The Siddha Loka, the inhabitants of the Siddha Loka, they don't require any plane. They can go Because Siddha means the inhabitants in that planet, they are all perfect in Ashtasiddhi Yoga. By yogic perfection, one can travel in the space, just like Durvasa Muni. He traveled in the space. When there was chasing by the Sudarshan Chakra, he by yogic power, he fled from one place to another, he even entered the spiritual nature and saw Vishnu personally. Still he was condemned. The Sudarshan Chakra was after him, chasing. He tried to insult Ambarish Maharaj, Vaishnava. So he wanted to kill, not only insult, but he wanted to kill him. A demon was immediately produced by his hair. The yogis can do that. Anima, Lagima, Prapti, Siddhi, whatever they like, immediately brought one demon. But Vaishnava, Maharaj Ambarish, he was neither yogi nor he could display any yogic perfection, but he was protected by Krishna, by the Sudarshan Chakra. This is Vaishnavas. Just Vaishnava do not require to practice any yogic power to become materially powerful. He doesn't require. Simply he surrendered to Krishna, makes him all powerful. This is the position of Vaishnava. Vaishnava, they do not care for all this yogic power. They depend on Krishna, and who can be? Krishna is the Yogeshwara, all master. Jatra Krishna, Jatra Hari Yogeshwara. So, if one takes shelter of the Yogeshwara, the master of all mystic power, why he should bother about this yogic power? A poor man may try to earn money by hard labor, but one who is a very, very rich man's son, why should he be labor? The father's money is sufficient. Similarly, a devotee, a sincere devotee, he is under the protection of Krishna, and under the protection of Krishna means under the protection of all 6 kinds of opulences. Riches, then strength, then reputation, wisdom, renunciation, beauty, the 6 kinds of opulence. Krishna under jang labdha chaparang labhang mannate nadhakang tato. This is stated. Because if you get some or other Krishna's favor, then there is no question of any more profit. Sufficient profit. You have got everything. Simply be sincere to the service of Krishna, then you have got everything. There is no need of trying for this or that. Jasmin sthite guru napi dukkhena na vichallati. If one is situated under the shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, then guru napi dukkhena na vichallati. If there is dangerous type of inconvenience, then he is not disturbed. He knows. Just like Ambarish Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj. There are many instances. His father, Hiranyakasipu, was giving him trouble, chastising. He was patient, not disturbed. So be sure that if you have actually taken shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, there is no question of danger. Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranasati. And Krishna confirms it. Kaunteya, my dear Arjuna, you declare to the world, that my devotee will be never vanquished by any enemy. That is Krishna's assurance. So why should we try to... of course, if Krishna's order is there, that is another thing. That's like Arjuna. Arjuna was ordered by Krishna, you fight. When Krishna says you fight, you must fight. Not that Krishna says you fight and you say, no, I have taken your shelter, why shall I fight? No, that's not. That is disobedience. When Krishna says you fight, you must fight. What our life should be that whatever Krishna says, that is full surrender. Or his representative says, that is my life. Vishwanath Chakravarti has explained in the Bhagavad Gita, Vavasatmika buddhi rekiha kurunandana, bahushaka anantas, buddhi abhyavasayana. So we should be fixed up on the order of Krishna coming through the spiritual master. Then our life is success. This is the secret of success in spiritual life. Jasya prasadad bhagavat prasad. This is assured. We have to please the spiritual master, and if he is pleased, then Krishna is pleased. The argument that we do not see Krishna personally, how we can satisfy? You satisfy your spiritual master, then Krishna is pleased. Jasya prasadat bhagavat prasad. Jasya prasadat, and if you want to please directly Krishna and show your spiritual master plantain, then nagati kutopi, it will be all useless. Jasya prasadat bhagavat prasad. Jasya aprasadat nagati kutopi. So this Narad Muni's history is very interesting, that he was not educated, a boy, and not coming from cultured family, made son. The only qualification was that nirupita balaka eva yogina. He was engaged as a boy servant to the yogis. So, how he got this opportunity? That is Sushushane. Sushushane means in service. Prabrisi during the rainy season. Because saintly persons, mendicants, sannyasis, their business is to travel. When, of course, something is established, then a sannyasi can rest. Paramahansa stays. When there are many disciples, workers going on, then he can take rest. Otherwise, it is the business of the sannyasi to travel. So, these yogis or the sannyasis, they are traveling all over the world or the country or the province. The business is traveling. But during rainy season, because it is very difficult, formerly there was no aeroplane, and might be, but they were not traveling, they were walking. So, for this 4 months rainy season, they used to take shelter at a nice place in a pilgrimage and wait until the rainy season is finished. They would not go out. That is called Chaturmas. This is the meaning of Chaturmas. So, the Narad Muni got this opportunity. Now you can calculate, this is knowledge. Then he had the opportunity to serve these yogis for 4 months only. Not more than that. And he became Narad. Just understand how much powerful is service to the Vaishnava, devotees. And that is also confirmed in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Kirata hunanda pulinda pukkasa abhira sumbha javana khasadaya jenne cha papa jad upasraya sraya suddhanti. Jad upasraya sraya means if anyone takes the shelter of the devotee, upasraya asraya, a devotee takes the shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, and if somebody else takes the shelter of the lotus feet of the devotee, Suddhanti, becomes purified. This is our Krishna consciousness movement. And who becomes purified? Kirata hunanda pulinda pukkasa abhira sumbhaja. All the people who are less than the Shudras, they are called Panchamas, fifth grade. First grade Brahmana, second grade Kshatriya, third grade Vaishya, fourth grade Shudra, and all others, fifth grade. They are called Chandalas. The Chandalas, the sweeper, the cobbler, low grade. Still, in India, these fifth grade persons only, they eat meat, pigs, and sometimes cows, fifth grade. Now it has become a practice, and he is a first grade man. You just see what was the business of the fifth grade man, that has become the business of the so-called politicians. You see? So, if you are ruled by the fifth grade man, then how you can be happy? That is not possible. How there can be any social tranquility? That is not possible. But even the fifth grade man, he can be purified by Krishna consciousness movement. Therefore, there is great need of this movement, because at the present moment, there is no first class man, no first grade man, no second grade man, maybe third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth grade, like that. But they can be purified. That is the only process is this Krishna consciousness movement. Anyone can be purified. Mang hi partha vipasritya jipishu papajuna. They are called papajuni. Born in low grade sinful family. Papajuni. Krishna says, jipishu, papajuna. Never mind what kind of papajuna. Mang hi partha, if he takes shelter of me, then the shelter can be taken because Krishna's representative is canvassing. So there is no scarcity. Simply one has to take shelter. That's all. Just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission is to create this canvasser. Go everywhere. Amar aggai guru haiya taro ei this. Go. He used to send Nityananda Prabhu, Haridas Thakur, and to canvass. Please chant Hare Krishna. Please chant Hare Krishna. Please surrender to Krishna. So there was a crowd on the street. Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur saw, and they asked, what is this crowd? No, there are two brothers, Jagai and Madai, very troublesome. They are drunkards, woman hunters and meat eaters, and they create always trouble. So Nityananda Prabhu immediately decided, why not deliver this person first? Then my Lord's name will be glorified. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's name will be glorified. This is the business of the disciple. How to glorify the spiritual master. Parampara. I glorify my spiritual master, you glorify your spiritual master. If we simply do that, glorify, then Krishna is glorified. That was the decision of Nityananda Prabhu. That why not deliver these fallen souls first? Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's incarnation is to deliver the fallen souls. And there is no scarcity of fallen souls in this age. Potita pavana hetu tavo avata. Mosama potita prabhu na paivya. Narottam Das Thakur is placing himself to the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that, my dear Lord, your incarnation is to reclaim all these fallen souls. But I am the lowest of the fallen souls. So my claim is first. Kindly deliver. Mosama potita prabhu na paivya. Your determination is to deliver the fallen. So I am the first class fallen. Please accept. So, Kali Yuga, people are suffering. They are all fallen, all meat eaters, all drunkards, all fifth grade, sixth grade men. They are puffed up. But actually they are fifth, sixth grade, 10th grade men, not even gentlemen. Therefore my Guru Maharaj used to say that no gentleman can live here. The society is so polluted. But there is opportunity of serving Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because the society is so fallen, therefore there is good opportunity to serve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's incarnation is to reclaim these fallen souls. So you have got the opportunity to serve Sri Chaitanya, to please Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because he wanted the fallen souls to be delivered. Krishna also wanted. Jada jada hi glani bhavati bharat. Dharmasya glani bhavati bharat. Krishna comes. This is God's business is going on like that. He is very anxious to reclaim all these rascals who are rotting in this material world. Krishna is always anxious. He comes himself. He comes as devotee. He comes as sends his bona fide servant, bona fide son. So this is Krishna's concern, to reclaim all these fallen souls. Therefore, these are the opportunity. The yogina, they are traveling all over the world. Only during the rainy season they are resting. Not that in other season eating, sleeping. No. Because in the rainy season to travel there is inconvenience. Therefore only 4 months. So during the 4 months, wherever they stay, simply being served by somebody else, like a boy servant, they become delivered. There was no question of preaching, simply giving the opportunity to serve. The fallen souls become delivered. But you must be competent, not to take service for nothing. Then you will go to hell. If you are actually in spiritual position, then by giving others little opportunity to serve you, he will be delivered. No question of understanding the philosophy. The devotees must be so perfect. The system is therefore, as soon as one sees a devotee, falls down and touches the feet. This is the system. Because by touching the feet, Mahatpada Rajobhisekam. If one is actually elevated to the spiritual life and he takes the opportunity of touching his lotus feet, then he becomes devotee. This is the process. So here, how he became Narad Muni will be described, but here it is said, one thing is that when you are liberated, Just like in the Bhagavad Gita it is said that tatta dehang punarjanma naiti mamit. You become an associate of Narayan, Krishna, Vishnu, then you can remember your past lives. Remember your past life. Just like you can remember your dreams. I was dreaming like that. So this is all dream. Our this life at the present moment, because this body is false, so whatever we are acting, it is just like dream. Like in dream at night we also work. So this is gross dream and that is subtle dream. But real life is spiritual life. But we foolish people, we are taking this life as permanent life, permanent settlement. It is not permanent settlement. Here is Narad Muni saying, aham pura otita bhave, abhavam otita bhave. This nature, just like everything material, bhutta praliyate, it appears for some time like bubbles in the ocean. Few seconds, again finished. The whole cosmic manifestation in which we are, millions and millions of years, it is just like a bubble in the ocean. It is just like a bubble. Bhutta praliyate, it is said in the Bhagavad Gita. So, Narad Muni confirms that formally in the millennium, that is Brahma's night. When Brahma's night comes, everything becomes devastated in water. Sahasra juga pajyantam arhajat brahmano vidu. First of all, Sahasra juga, one juga means 4,300,000 of years. Multiply it by 1,000. That is the period of manifestation. Now what is the period? 43 lakhs of years. And multiply it by 1,000. How many years?
4.3 billion.
4.3 billions of years, this thing will go on. And then again, this is Khanda Pralaya. Khanda Pralaya means when Brahma's day and night. But there is Mahapralaya. That will stay, you do not know how many millions of years. But this is called millennium. So Narad Muni remembers this. Therefore he says, aham pura otita bhave. This is called bhava. Bhava. Bhava means to come into existence and again finish. Just like this. Bhava samsara. It is called bhava samsara. Bhava samsara means I have got this body and it will be finished. Again I shall get another body, again it will be finished. So where is the science to understand these things? Who can explain? Where is the scientist? Pura, utita, bhave. Is there any scientist? Is there? So what is their knowledge? Very meager knowledge. 2 plus 2, that's all. And they are very much proud. Who can explain this? Pura, utita, bhave. They do not know pura, they do not know utita, bhave. And abhavam. And I existed. And I can remember. Is that perfection possible? But this is a fact. This is a fact. One may believe or not believe. They are making research in institutes. Big. Yesterday Bon Maharaj was speaking. What is this research? Research here. And Narad Muni says that in my previous life I was like this. Where is the research? comparing this or comparing that, real research is here. If actually one is research scholar, now what does this Bhagavad says? Pura autito bhave. What is this? Go on research. That is required. That is real research. So, pura autito bhave abhavang mune is addressing the Vyasa Mune. So I was the son of a maid servant, and I was engaged as the boy servant of yogis, and they were taking rest for 4 months. So I had the opportunity of serving them 4 months as their boy servant, just to take whatever they left prasadam, I used to take to wash their dishes or to wash their cloth. In this way he got the opportunity of serving perfect devotees for 4 months and became Nara. This is important. This is important. That simply by rendering salpamapi yasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhaya. He became Narad, means he was saved from the mahato bhaya, very great, fearful, dangerous position. What is that? Fearful, dangerous position. They do not care. We are so full that we are always on the brink of dangerous position. If we don't utilize this life properly, I may fall down again to this cycle of birth and death. Tatha dehantara prapti, I shall get another body. There is no guarantee what kind of body I am going to get, I do not know. This foolish civilization is going. Save them by this Krishna consciousness. That is the best welfare activity. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. So thank you for listening, coming to hear. Srila Prabhupada always very, very spiritually educative. And now we'd like to open up for devotees. Whatever takeaway you've gotten from this, some questions you'd like to ask, some comments you'd like to make, please unmute yourself and make those comments or ask those questions or state your takeaways. Hare Krishna. So while devotees are thinking about this, I'll say a few from my own notes and takeaways. So this was Narada Muni talking, describing to Vyasadeva what his previous life was. In his previous life, he was a son of a Siddharani maidservant. Srila Prabhupada said it's about 3, 4, 5 years old. And then he also mentioned Dasya, which is a person who knows the mother, but there's no information about his father. So even that was mentioned by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada also mentioned that about Kshatriyas, female population usually greater than the male population, and therefore when the king or Kshatriya got married, then the queen is there, but the girlfriends of the queen also went with her. And if the king made any of the girlfriends pregnant, then the son born was called Dasiputra. So that son cannot ascend to the throne. He cannot be a crown prince because he's born of Shuddha, born of a girlfriend. The queen's son can be the next one, but not the sons of any of the girlfriends of the queen. So that was there. Of course, the king took care of all of the women, all the girlfriends, and the queen also. So, and also, Prabhupada talked about that life when Narada was the son of a maidservant. That was one. And then after that life, he was able to be situated in the spiritual life. And in spiritual life, he was able to go anywhere. Then he compared to the situation of being able to go anywhere compared to the inhabitants of Siddhaloka, because they also have the 8 mystic perfections, and they also, even though they are in the material world, they can go anywhere. They don't need an aircraft to take them. So Vivas Muni, was like that. He has yogic powers, but Vaishnavas don't require yogic powers. Prabhupada made that point. Why don't they require yogic power? Because we take shelter of Krishna, who is a master of all yogis. He's Yogeshwara, the controller. So when devotees take shelter of Krishna, then they are automatically protected. It says if you have Krishna's favor, then you have everything, as long as we are sincere in the service to Krishna. For example, Prahlad Maharaj was given trouble by his father, but he was very patient. His father, Hiranyakashipu, and so he was patient and unafraid. And in the end, of course, it was Hiranyakashipu that got killed. So Konteya Patijanihiti Name Bhakta Panashiti, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, text 31. And then Srila Prabhupada said we should be fixed up on the order of the spiritual master. When we please the spiritual master, then Krishna is pleased. If we don't please the spiritual master, then it is all useless. So that's some of the takeaways that I have. Hare Krishna. Anyone else want to share some takeaway? Or even a question?
Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji Mataji, all devotees.
Hare Krishna.
Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah.
A nice class by Srila Prabhupada on the life of
Absolutely.
the life of Narad Muni, how he
Mhm.
served the saints while taking rest during the Chaturmas, and Prabhupada specifically mentions Narad Muni served only 4 months, not more than that. So one can have the perfection of life by just serving 4 months to the saintly people.
Mm.
So I was just thinking, and there's very nicely, as Srila Prabhupada mentions, Lord is very anxious to reclaim all the wandering souls, to claim them back and take them back home, back to Godhead.
Yeah.
So whenever we approach or someone, that's a very nice thing to remember. Like Lord is very anxious, just needs some sukruti, or some pious activity, or some way connected to the process. Because Lord is always, there to claim them. Just we have to be puppet in the process to connect anyone. So that was a good point for me to think of when we approach someone for the to distribute book or for this to connect them to the temple.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very important point. Thank you for bringing it up. Krishna is anxious for us to go back to Godhead, rather than deal with this struggle for existence in the material world. And because that shows, as we were talking about that, some thoughts came to me, that shows how loving Krishna is. Because we are in this jail, but still he comes and he's with every single living entity, even in the atom as Paramatma. Looking at our activities, trying to see how this person turns to me. They have full independence, they have their minute independence, so they can do whatever they want, but actually the place in which they can be happy is to turn their attention to Krishna again. So then Srila Prabhupada is giving the instructions, when we serve the lotus feet of a devotee, then Krishna will be pleased and we will also be protected. So we should be fixed up on the order of the spiritual master, like that. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. There's another shloka I was just thinking on at the end of lecture. Srila Prabhupada mentions Swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Even little bit endeavor or help on this path saves from most dangerous situation.
Yes. You mentioned. Yeah, so much. Now that shows the potency of devotional service. A little bit of it saves us from a great and fearful and dangerous position. When we put our hearts fully into service, then of course Krishna is very pleased, Guru is pleased. So the chances of us going back to Godhead gets greatly increased. But even when we do a small amount of service, it is never forgotten because that person is turning their attention to Krishna consciousness at the time they're doing that service. And there's definitely gain from that. The rest of the world is not doing that, and that's the majority. So how important it is, and how fortunate it is that anyone would serve gurus, serve the devotees, serve the deities, like that. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Any more?
Yes, I thank you. Actually, both of you mentioned 2 takeaways that were mine, but I really thank you for bringing that up.
You can repeat it. It's good.
Yeah, because, one of the points was a big reminder for me. I'm trying to pull it up here, where Srila Prabhupada said, the order of Krishna comes through the guru. So I was really, of course, I've heard that many times, but it's so wonderful to keep hearing that reminder because we tend to forget. At least I tend to forget because sometimes we get so caught up in the services. We get so caught up in wanting to get things done that we forget, oh my God, wait, that is coming from Krishna through my spiritual master. It's not in my power. It's not in my control. So that was a very powerful point that and we all can check ourselves, I feel, to really understand. Because, when we get caught up in what we're doing every day with the services, we just think that we're doing it. But actually, it's coming from Krishna through the spiritual master. So that was a very powerful reminder for me, like really powerful. So thank you for sharing that. Another point that I like that Nitya Gopal mentioned was, it was the power of devotional service, where Srila Prabhupada said, Narada spent 4 months. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, trying to paraphrase Srila Prabhupada's words, where he said that just 4 months of devotional service, and he became a pure devotee of the Lord. And I was like, whoa. So, and he just served the pure devotees of the Lord for 4 months, and he got elevated. So, and Prabhupada was mentioning, and I think he used the word, if I'm not mistaken, power of devotional service. So I was really, really appreciating that, how blessed we are to be engaged in devotional service. And I think on top of that, to really feel very fortunate and very merciful by, of course, from Guru and Krishna, that we are engaged in devotional service, because it's only by the power of devotional service can we become more humble. We can grow in our spiritual life. We can progress in our spiritual life. We can become more Krishna conscious, and, and hopefully by the mercy of the spiritual master, go back to Godhead. But I was really reflecting on the amazing power of devotional service. And then when Srila Prabhupada mentioned 4 months that Narada Muni, served the pure devotees. So I was really reflecting on the power of devotional service. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Right. Yes, very, 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 very important points to me here. And even though it was repeat, you were talking about it, but Krishna sometimes uses us to stress a point, to remember that the service is actually set up through the agency of Guru. Everything we do, even the service that we give to the to the deities, is all set up by the spiritual master. Remember when Srila Prabhupada was here in the United States, and his devotee, Mataji Malati, brought Lord Jagannath, a small deity of Lord Jagannath, to Srila Prabhupada, which he found in the store. He didn't know, or she didn't know, the significance of Lord Jagannath. But when he showed it to Srila Prabhupada immediately offered obeisances, and then asked whether she saw other that were similar in kind of shape to. So Mataji went back, and we found Baladev and Subhadra, and of course, next thing, Srila Prabhupada ordered that larger deities of that same model be made. Devotees got to it, and this is how Rath Yatra started. This is all through the instructions of Srila Prabhupada. So it's Guru that actually guides us for all the services that we do. There's one chat from Saurabh Prabhu to ask, Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances of Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Prabhupada was talking about Narottam Das Thakur Maharaj's song. He says Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the ultimate deliverer of fallen conditioned souls. So our Nitya Gaurachandra will deliver us as well. I remember hearing His Holiness Lokanath Swami Maharaj that these are model prayers. We don't know how to pray, what to ask from the Lord. Our acharyas give us the model prayers, how we should pray, what we should pray. Narottam Das Thakur says that he's most fallen, which we know he was not. Okay, yeah, so that's an important point in the chat. Thank you, Saurabh, to make that point. Yes, they are model prayers. This is another way that I've heard it, but another way earlier, I heard same thing said by another sannyasi, whose name I forget right now, but I remember the point that was made. And the point that he made was that the prayers by the pure devotees are very, very potent, because that's a pure devotee praying. It's like comparing the person who is experienced in a certain field talking about that field versus a person who is inexperienced talking about that field. So the devotees, the pure devotees, are the ones that have a full connection with Krishna, and we are fallen conditioned souls. So when they are requesting Krishna through prayer, that prayer shows the level that they are, and that prayer, when we repeat it, gives so much blessings to us also. So yeah, those are first class, prayers, and sometimes because the Lord helps us too, even though we're conditioned souls, we put our case before the spiritual master, and through the spiritual master we get help like that. But yes, Narottam Das Thakur's prayer, Bhakti Vinod Thakur's prayers, all of them are very, very important. Not to mention Srila Prabhupada's prayers too. Hare Krishna.
I like the point that Saurabh was saying, that in Narottam Das Thakur's song, he's mentioned that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the ultimate deliverer, and so is Anita Gaurachandra. So I like how he put two of them together. It was so sweet.
Yes, the Lord's incarnation as a devotee is really teaching us how to, how to serve like that. And yeah, now we have one. After their pastimes in India, we now have them in Harrisburg, and then they're giving us the opportunity to serve them. And so much, we can't begin to tell you how much help that they have been since they've been here. Some things, even at the material level, we notice changes that are wonderful. So yes, their lordships are very, very, very merciful. And now we have them here. So anyone listening that's not gotten a chance to see them, because sometimes I know they are, they're calling from other states. Whenever you come to Pennsylvania and you come to Harrisburg, please come to our temple and see the two, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, 6200 Bedford Street, Harrisburg. Or you can see iskonharrisburg.org. You can also find information there. Hare Krishna. Anyone else? Takeaways? Comments? Questions? We are the 9 o'clock hour, true enough, but still, any last questions or comments would be much appreciated if you have it. Hare Krishna. Okay, so one of the things that one more takeaway that I'd like to add to this before we end, unless someone else wants to say something. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that incarnation was to deliver fallen souls. So we are fortunate that he's come like that. And our present lifetime, Srila Prabhupada talked about daytime, it's like a gross dream because we're using our gross physical bodies. And the nighttime, we use the subtle bodies to roam around. So it's like a subtle dream, but nothing is permanent. Even the day of Lord Brahma, that is 4 billion, 320 million years, that's also temporary. We're like bubbles in the ocean, coming, going, death, birth, birth, like that. And so when we serve the pure devotees, then we will get the chance for protection by the Lord and an opportunity to go back home, back to Godhead, so that this business of birth and death stops, not to mention old age and disease. That's even troublesome. So thank you very much. Any last comments? Okay. Thank you all for listening in. Of course, Srila Prabhupada always elevates our thinking, elevates our lives, elevates our commitment to Krishna consciousness when he preaches. And there's so much that we learn in Sanskrit also on top of that. So, Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhuvya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vaishnav Thakur ki jai. Gaura Pramanande Haribo.
Haribo, thank you.
Haribo. Hare Krishna. So have a nice
Hare
rest of your
Krishna.
week. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Hare Krishna.